Ian, so nice to meet you.
And to you.
So your latest book, I'm used to your books being so fact-driven and so real, and now we have a talking fetus.
Yes.
What were you thinking?
Well, I decided I needed a holiday from research and to just step away from the kind of realistic novels I've been writing the last 20 years. And the idea just seemed to come from nowhere. The very first sentence popped into my head. So here I am upside down in a woman. And then it just began from there and spread from there.
So you no longer desire to be taken seriously?
Oh, there's lots of serious reflections that a good thinking fetus can have about a world he's about to join. So in some ways it's such a limited perspective, can't see a thing. But he can overhear. His mother listens to the radio, podcasts. He has a lot of sources of information. He overhears every conversation. So he's pretty well informed about the world.
Well, you're known for having the occasional opinion yourself, reading the fetus's opinions. He seems, I can't tell whether he is horrified by what's going on. You talk about Europe, or he talks about Europe dissolving in hatred, but he also seems full of love and hope. Where are you?
Well, I'm just about where he is on this. Yes, he has ambivalence. He longs to join the world. He's horrified by what's happening, a whole range of issues, terrorism, climate change, inequities, and poverty, and so on.
Well, and you're facing, at home, Brexit.
I think when you hold a referendum like this, what happens is that those who are doing okay in the system will vote to continue whatever we have, and a general feeling from a lot of the population who aren't doing so well think, well, let's try something else. I mean, I think we see something of the same tendency behind Donald Trump's campaign, which is surprising everyone much as the Brexit vote surprised us. In other words, I think when you ask for a referendum, you ask for a kicking, really, of the status quo. It's not a well thought out position, but I think neither side's particularly well thought out. People just had their tribal gut instincts and voted with it.
You've long fought for freedom of speech. You could say that Donald Trump feels free to say whatever he likes.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, First Amendment matter.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
How do you explain what's happening in the US right now?
Well, I think there's a big overlap with our experience with Brexit. I think there's a lot of anger among working class Americans, although they call them middle class Americans, there was a confusion here, that they haven't thrived as well as they should have. The American dream is not working out quite as they wanted. And they've worked themselves up into a passion that their country is falling apart, which I would take issue with. I think actually the US economy has survived pretty well under Obama, given the headwind he was facing on election. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised if he was the next president.
The fetus in your book seems to mock what has become identity politics. And you personally have been in trouble for saying, I'm sorry, but this is old-fashioned, but somebody with a penis is a man. Hello.
No, most people with a penis.
Most people with a penis.
Yeah, which I think is incontestable. But anyway, I might as well have denied the Holocaust for the storm that followed what I thought was a self-evident remark. We've emerged from a time when you can now attend happily a gay marriage. It's growing and blossoming from there. What I take issue with is making your selfhood, the entirety of your politics.
Why?
Well, because you've got to think of others.
So
we're
it's
sharing
selfish?
a planet.
It's selfish?
Well, I think it's limited more than anything else. So I'm skeptical about trigger warnings and safe spaces and no platforming. I mean, Germaine Greer, a feminist icon, prevented from speaking, although the decision was later changed. Or students at Emory upset because someone had chalked Trump 2016 on a sidewalk. Students go to the president of the university to complain that they feel threatened, whereas I think students should be robust and write not in front of it or wipe it out. So I think there's a culture growing up of the identity being so frail And that's what your politics consists of. Whereas we want young intellectuals to go and embrace, inequities in the awful issues of world poverty that's still with us, even though, it's diminishing, climate change, and local issues of equity, racism. I mean, it means thinking beyond the fragile, threatened little bubble of the self.
And yet these young intellectuals, some of them, would argue that it's about awareness, it's about human rights, that people sort of never acknowledge that people have the issues that we're talking about today, trans,
I'm all for that.
gender,
of
and
course,
so on.
Yeah, that gender battle goes on, but...
awareness does seem to be changing. Isn't that a good thing?
I think it's just becoming hypersensitive. For example, I think young kids going to university should be prepared to hear opinions that are not their own, and should not feel threatened by opinions that are not their own. I mean, the intellectual life is hearing from all sides. So while I'm absolutely for the politics of identity, I don't think it amounts to a totality of a politics. We've got to have more. You've got to think of others.
But isn't it thinking of others to say, be aware of the human rights of this person who doesn't fit in the categories that we used to ascribe people?
I think we've come a long way along that line. But when you feel threatened by Trump 2016, I think you've gone a step too far. Enter into the dialogue, find the students and have a debate. Go and question the speaker who you say threatens you. It needs to be a little more robust, is my sense of things.
So you used to do years of research, I think, for your books sometimes.
Yes.
This one was just an idea.
Yeah.
So what's better, and what are you going to do now?
Well, this was fun. I just stayed at my desk. I didn't have to go and talk to experts. And once you have this simple idea of a fetus, 38 weeks old, reflecting on his youth, when he was young, had loads of space. Now he's all cramped up. His ear is pressed against the wall. He's hearing his mother and his uncle plot the murder of his father, so he owes much to Hamlet. He's intimately placed for the love life between his mother and his uncle. As he says, not every person knows what it's like to have your father's rival's penis inches from your face. So things open up, things that had not occurred to me at the beginning open up in the process. You think, well, he can't see a thing, but he can hear everything, and he can get into all sorts of intimate spaces.
It's been lovely to meet you. Thank you so much.
And you, and thanks for having me on.